Welcome to our VocTech Challenge Impact Network and Grant Fund presentation recording from our workshops. I'm Jane Holmes, Head of Grant Programmes. I'll be talking a bit about UFI, I'll be talking about the background to this VocTech Challenge, more about the VocTech Challenge Impact Network and Grant Fund. And if you come along to one of our workshops, we would then have a breakout where you could ask your particular questions of a member of the team before we would come back into the main room for more questions and a close. So do book onto one of those if you think it would be useful. When people thrive in work, everybody benefits. So at UFI, we champion the power of technology to improve skills for work and deliver better outcomes for all. We do this by grant funding, investment, advocacy and support to develop and deploy vocational technology across all parts of the UK skills system. We help unlock potential in communities, sectors and places currently underserved by mainstream provision, helping ensure everyone is included and no one is left behind. And we use the term VocTech to describe what we support, the combination of technology and vocational skills. As a grant funder, we operate either single grant funding calls for a specific type of project or challenge calls where we test out different approaches to a specific challenge. This funding call is part of our current VocTech challenge, Skills for an Economy in Transition. You can have a look at our previous challenges on our website. To get to where we are now on this VocTech challenge, during 2023, we worked with over 100 people to build an evidence base and develop green and white papers on the skills needed for an economy in transition. And you can read those papers on our website if you'd like to. The summary of all the research, questioning, convening and catalysing work we've done so far to define this VocTech challenge is captured in this statement. At a time of skills shortage and rapid economic transition, it is essential that everyone in the UK has the opportunity to develop the skills they need. By getting adults learning, we will create the foundation for secure and equitable economic growth that gives everyone in the UK the capacity to thrive. We realised that we needed and we wanted to build a movement for change and to shift the dial on adult participation in learning and training using technology. So what did we do next? We made a £3 million commitment to getting adults learning and we started a programme of work. Firstly, we launched the Future of Skills Award, celebrating big tech-enabled ideas of how changes to the UK skills system could transform the way adults get the skills they need for work. You can read more about the winners and their ideas on, you guessed it, our website. Then we started working with a variety of organisations in each of the 4 UK nations in areas where there was evidence of both employers not being able to get the skills they need and people not being able to get the training they wanted. We're working in Hull, Belfast, Aberdeen and Newport to identify local barriers to local skills delivery and are putting plans together using technology to overcome them while trying to do something about the systems that are causing those barriers. The people and organisations we're working with in those places and our existing partnerships have formed the basis of the Challenge Impact Network, and we're inviting you to be part of that by opening this Challenges grant call. So let's talk more about that. As I've said, the VocTech Challenge Impact Network is an active network designed to create connections, share knowledge, test assumptions and accelerate adoption and deployment of technology for learning so that more adults can get the skills they need for work. And grant funding is available for bold, tech-led approaches to tackle one of 3 specific challenges, which have come out of all the work that we've done on this challenge already. So let's talk more about those specific challenges. Informed by the learnings from our place-based collaborations, we're looking for bold, tech-led approaches to tackle one of these 3 specific challenges. Employer integration. How can technology be used to integrate and reflect employers' changing needs so that the skills of the available workforce better reflect the needs of local employers? Pathways into and within work. How can technology be used to increase the visibility, accessibility, and uptake of pathways from learning into work or from one type of work into another, particularly in regional growth sectors? Vocational language barriers. How can technology be used to support adults with in-demand vocational skills, but who don't speak English as their first language, gain the industry-specific English required by employers? We understand that these challenges do not exist in isolation. That's partly why they're so complex. If your application is successful, you'll be expected to explore and consider connected issues as part of our work together. However, you must concentrate on one challenge question for your grant application. Grants of between £200,000 and £250,000 are available for projects of between 18 and 24 months duration. We have a total grant pot of 1.5 million available, so that's up to 6 projects we're looking to fund. And of course, all the projects must aim to solve one of the 3 challenges I've just articulated to get adults learning. This call is about impact. It's about changing the way things are done to move the dial on adult participation in learning and on catalysing systemic change in the UK skills system to continue that change. We want at least 1,000 learners to be directly involved in and impacted by each of the projects we offer grant funding to, and we want to see change being sustained when our funding has ended. We expect that these will be collaborative projects. We doubt that a single organisation will have all the necessary reach and capabilities to do this alone. And we're looking for match funding to demonstrate a shared commitment to the project. It's been our experience that projects are more likely to be successful if the risk and commitment are shared between UFI and the project organisations. The match can be cash or in kind, and we don't have a set percentage that we require. And there's more in our FAQs on our website on match funding too. We know what we're asking won't be easy, but we think with our funding and with the support of the Challenge Impact Network, we can maximise our joint impact. With active participations in workshops and events, and with access to a range of bespoke resources and enrichment opportunities, the Impact Network is designed to provide grant-funded projects the best chance of success. So what kind of ideas are we looking for? Bold applications with both imaginative and practical plans enabled by tech for radically increasing adult participation in learning and training by addressing the 3 challenges. We're looking for ideas that look beyond a single product, supplier, organisation or service, and which create connections between different organisations and processes to demonstrate how people and structures could work together to address the challenges. We're looking for ideas that show how, alongside people and processes, tech can improve how things are done and deliver better outcomes for learners and for employers. And we're looking for ideas to connect learners into pathways that lead to real work and job opportunities. Whatever the idea is, it must not add complexity or duplication into the existing system or process, as our green and white papers and all our research found that complexity, fragmentation, and too many systems inside a system were major barriers to change. And of course, we're looking for match funding to share the risk and commitment between us and you. And who is this grant call for? We think this will be best suited to collaborative groups of organisations and employers who are in touch with or delivering in the skills system they wish to change. We think they'll have a strong track record in working with a community of learners, and they must have a route to engaging employers or employer groups. Remember, we want to build on what works, so the product must be at least MVP stage. So this won't be suitable for startups with an idea but no tested product. And of course, we want people to be part of the network that we're building. We're also open to the fact that the idea may be part of a blended or hybrid solution, where digital tools and approaches can enhance face-to-face delivery. We're open to the fact that ideas may also address the skills of trainers in deploying VocTech to ensure that these tools are utilised and embedded more quickly. And the idea may not be a separate product or commercial service. The tool may well be something that can be embedded or retrofitted into existing offers or changes to practice to improve outcomes, catalysing longer-term systems change. And while our focus is on up to level 3 skills, where there is a clear demand for employers for skills above this level, we will consider applications which include a small proportion of above level 3 skills. While this call is not focused on digital skills development, there may be a need to address digital skills as an entry point to the vocational skills and pathways to work that you might be seeking to build. It's important to say what we don't fund as well as what we do, so I'm going to pause and let you read these. So what might this look like in practice? With the proviso that we are not looking for copycat ideas, but that we wanted to come up with some illustrative examples of the ambition that we had for this call. Let's remind ourselves of the 3 challenges. Employer integration. How can tech be used to integrate and reflect employers' changing needs so the skills of the workforce better reflect those? Pathways into and within work. How can tech be used to increase the visibility, accessibility, and uptake of pathways from learning into work or from one type of work to another? And vocational language barriers. How can tech be used to support adults with in-demand vocational skills, but who don't have the right industry-specific English skills gain those skills required by employers? Here's a potential scenario then for employer integration. A major retailer wants to recruit more people who are not in education, employment, or training. Those who currently apply don't have the math skills to secure a job. So we've said math skills, but it could be any particular skill. The retailer sees how tech could help more people find out about the opportunities and help them get the skills they need to be offered a job. So the system in this case includes the employers, their recruitment process, potential employees, and training provision. And the solution could be that the tech could help create a new process or enhance the existing one. It could be more than one tech solution embedded in the recruitment process, or all of those things marry up. Here's a potential scenario for pathways into and within work. In a town, the local logistics sector needs to grow its workforce by 25%. Not enough people are applying, and when they do apply, they don't have the skills that they need. And local training provision doesn't seem to match that need. A large employer, 2 smaller organisations, the Local Skills Improvement Partnership and a major recruitment agency have come together to try and find a solution that will work for the sector. So here the system is pathways into jobs in logistics, and the solution could be a platform that does the following. A provider or group of providers works with employers to identify specific skills gaps. They investigate reasons why the existing provision isn't meeting those gaps. Short, accessible and affordable VocTech training courses with work experience element are developed. Learners are able to access training, which gets them work ready and improves their opportunities, and therefore the skills gap is reduced as employers have an improved pipeline of employees. And for the third scenario, vocational language barriers. So here we have employers not able to get the workers they need or promote good workers because of that worker's lack of industry-specific English skills. And we have language training provision that isn't industry-specific enough or accessible enough. And we have people with skills who aren't able to access jobs or promotions because they have the technical skills for, because they can't access the right English training for their skills need at the right time. So they might be excellent fitters or caretakers or technicians or whatever, but they don't have the specific vocational English skills to get into or progress in their industry, sector or trade. The technology-based solution could be something that solves all or most of those barriers. So employers get the staff they need with the right vocational English skills, and people with skills get jobs or promotions because they've been able to access the right industry-specific English training at a time, pace, and place to suit them. And because no current presentation is complete without a reference to AI in it, If any of you are planning to create AI-based tools, it's obviously important to keep a close eye on the changing AI landscape. The UK government issued a white paper last year on AI regulation, which highlights 5 pillars of ethical AI use. Those pillars and their mitigations are outlined here, and we'll expect any application involving AI to explicitly reference these. Let's talk about what a good application looks like. Our grant application form takes you through all of these points. Show a clear adult vocational learning issue or problem and how it relates to one of the 3 challenges you're working on. We get a lot of applications with a vague problem and this could fix everything type solution. Those often betray a lack of detailed knowledge of learners and of their problems. So be clear and specific. Explain what you plan to do and how that will address the problem you've articulated, and how you will reach at least 1,000 learners during the funded period. Explain how what you plan to do will catalyse larger scale sustainable change. How will it improve the UK skills system? Describe the technology and the impact you expect it to have. This call isn't about developing completely new tech. We've said we expect the technology to be at MVP stage at least. This is about impact, about getting more people using the technology for learning and training. So tell us about that, the impact it will have on learners, and as we've said above, on the UK skills system. Show us your ambition and your potential to scale. And explain why you want to join the UFI Challenge Impact Network and how you think being part of it will strengthen or accelerate your progress. Explain why and how your learner group is not well served or is overlooked by mainstream provision. And finally, be practical, avoid jargon and keep it simple. There is a word count for each of these questions on our application form that's deliberately between 100 and 200 words maximum. So you do need to be very concise and very clear. So what else do you need to know? As you'd expect from a digital organisation, it's an online application process. You can open an account on our website at MyUFI, and you use that account to access, complete, save and submit your applications. It's a 2-stage application process with a review point at each stage. If you're successful at stage 1, you'll be invited to continue to stage 2. Assessment at each stage is undertaken by an expert panel, and our final funding decisions are made by our Board of Trustees. Now, a couple of practical tips. Please don't use Safari. The system just doesn't work properly with it. Our application system shows you which page you're on. You can see the 2 green ticks, which means I've completed pages 1 and 2, which is some information about you and your organisation. And I'm on page 3 at the moment, which is the name of your project. It's a maximum of 80 characters for the name of your project, and you'll get an error message if you try to go above that. You'll see at the bottom right, there's a purple Save and Continue button. Once you've got to this stage, the system will create your application and save the information you input as you go along, so you can log out and log back in to go back to your application at any point. Page 8 is where it looks different at the bottom right. This is where you save and submit your application. Please don't submit until you are absolutely sure this is your final version. Everything else will have been saved up to this point, so you can go back to it at any time. Once you've hit save and submit, you won't be able to change it. When you submit, there's a tick box where you agree to our terms and conditions if you're awarded a grant. There's a link to them at that point, and they're also available on our website at any time too. So just search for terms and conditions. Also, please don't leave it until the last minute before submitting. The deadline is 5 o'clock on Monday, the 8th of July. In the grant edition of Reinforcing Learning, the deadline for submission of Stage 1 applications is 5 o'clock on the 8th of July. We do not accept late applications. If you experience technical problems while completing or submitting your application, you must tell us as soon as possible via info@ufi.co.uk. And here's the whole timetable. Stage 1 applicants will be advised in late July whether they have been successful and will be invited to submit their Stage 2 applications. Stage 2 includes a set of questions which are individual to your application and allow us to ask you to clarify or strengthen specific areas of your proposal. The deadline for submission of Stage 2 applications is 5 o'clock on the 9th of September, and we expect that our Board of Trustees will reach final decisions on funding by late October. And finally, as a charity itself, UFI must ensure that any grant given to any organisation that is not also a charity demonstrates public benefit. This means being able to see evidence of how the proposed approach will benefit learners, how the community of learners has been defined, and the total size of the group the project could reach. Applicants must always explain clearly why they need UFI funding to support their project and how UFI's charitable funding will make a difference. Finally, we need to make sure that our funding is not more than is necessary to deliver the project and is not replacing private funding. The questions we ask in our application form help us understand how your proposal can have a beneficial public outcome, both immediately and in the longer term. And this is where, in one of our workshops, it's time to move into a breakout room so you can have a chat with a member of our team and ask any questions you will have. And then we come back into the main room for final questions or common questions amongst everybody. And then I move on to this summary. Grants of between £200,000 and £250,000 are available for projects lasting 18 months to 2 years to address one of 3 challenges: employer integration, pathways into and within work, and vocational language barriers that help get adults learning. Please read the grant fund guidance on our website. Please use the eligibility checker. It's a great tool. We've got top tips, and you can also have a look at our grant terms and conditions. You apply on our website, logging in through My UFI, and the closing date for applications is 5 o'clock on Monday, the 8th of July. My top tip is be clear. Perhaps get someone who's unfamiliar with what you do to read through your application. It's so hard for our assessors to properly assess your application if they can't understand what it is you plan to do. I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to seeing some brilliant applications come in. Thank you.